Yeah. So, good evening, friends, and welcome to the first ever webinar organized by Women's Wing of Urological Society of India, titled as Women of Urology Society of India. And on the occasion of International Women's Day, we thought this would be the best time to have our first official webinar. And I welcome all of you. My name is Dr. Anita Patel. And to start the meeting, may I request the President of Urology Society of India, Dr. Lalit Shah, to say a few words. Over to you, Dr. Lalit Shah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anita. Dear esteemed women urologists of India, on this International Women Day, we celebrate your valuable contribution to the field of urology. Your dedication, skill, and compassion inspire us all. As President of Urological Society of India, I, Dr. Lalit Shah, extend my heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering commitment to improve urological care in our country. Your expertise and leadership are instrumental in shaping the future of our specialty. Today, we honor your achievement and recognition and the challenges that you have overcome. Your perseverance and excellence are a beacon of inspiration to all the urologists, both men and women. Thank you for your tireless efforts for being the role model in our field. Happy International Women Day. And like I said always, हमारी छोरियां छोरों से किसी तरह कम नहीं है. Very, very happy International Women Day. Thank you and best wishes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah, for those encouraging words. May I now request the Secretary of Urology Society of India, Dr. Uttam Mete, to say a few words. And this will be followed by opening remarks by Dr. Raj Maheshwari, the present President and Chairperson of WOU. Over to you, Dr. Mete.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Mr. President Lalit sir, the President of the Women's Wing in absentia, Dr. Raja Maheshwari.
No, she's present.
She's present. Okay.
Yes, of course.
The other dignitaries in the webinar platform. First of all, I must congratulate Dr. Sujata for arranging this webinar. Before we go for this webinar, I think we should. I thought that I should talk a little bit about this. What is this International Women's Day? This is the day to remember the contribution of those women leaders or women activists who had advocated for gender equality as well as gender justice. Okay, so I think in the early part of 20th century, it may be 1908, where the women leaders or the women workers. Sorry, there are a lot of noises. So women workers, they had marched through the city of New York to protest against the child labor and who were demanding for women's suffrage. And then followed by that, every year annually, we are now celebrating this International Women's Day, just to remember their contributions. I think we should not confuse with this National Women's Day of India. In the National Women's Day, we celebrate the birth anniversary of Sarojini Naidu for her contribution in the field of our independence and other stuff. Now, why do you want to contribute or why do you want to celebrate this? Because we should actually appreciate anybody's contributions, and the contributions of women leaders in our field is not less. I remember in my student days, Professor Sharma was the secretary of USI, and he used to ask us, do you know how many lady urologists are there in India? Then we used to be puzzled. Then there are, I think, very, very few. We can count them. But now, today, I think there are 80 urologists, female urologists in our society. So it is really heartening to see that many more ladies are coming forward to this supposed to be male-dominated specialty, if I am not wrong. And not only that, what I have seen over the period of times, I am born and brought up in PGI. I had done my MS here, and there, when I was doing that MS, hardly girls used to join as surgery resident. Now, it has just reversed. The more number of girls are there compared to the boys who are doing surgery, and many more girl students are coming forward for this urology specialty. Now, where does the question of gender, inequality comes? That's what I was telling before starting this program. We had only 3 female residents so far in the history of PGI. One had committed suicide, the first one, because of XYZ reason. Second one has passed out, and third one is doing it. Krupa Bani. I asked her, do you feel that you are being discriminated? She said only one thing, sir, whenever a lady resident joins in urology, people feel, oh, you have joined to do the female urology, functional urology. But why? People will think this perception amongst the male urologists that they are only for the female urology or functional, which is wrong. They also aspire to do a robotic surgery or other reconstructive surgery. Why this perception? So this perception amongst us has to be taken away. Now, what are their contribution? Is there contribution in all the 3 fields, whether it is teaching of residents, training of residents, patient care, as well as the research. And all 3 areas are covered, and there are a lot of contributions. So we cannot just mention, but I can mention Dr. Raja Maheshwari. Definitely her contribution in the field of female urology. It has, because of her contribution, our science has progressed. The Urology Society of India has progressed. So I might miss so many female urologists. I don't want to mention, and I don't want to waste time for that. So their contributions needs to be appreciated and acknowledged. As a secretary, I think I can just say that I shall try to convince USI Council that we need to felicitate so many unsung urologists, lead urologists. They had spent their whole life in the practice of urology. They have not been recognized. And this is the high time that USI Council should felicitate them. I'll request them to felicitate them in Chennai USICon. And second thing is, I would like to hear the feedback from Dr. Sujata and Dr. Anita that what are the challenges faced by them and how USI can help out. And I'll try my best to accommodate most of the lady urologists in the scientific program so that they come forward. This is not only to help them, this is basically to help the juniors. After seeing them, the junior residents or the junior lady colleagues, they'll be inspired. Like a daughter gets inspired by her mother. Similarly, after seeing their contribution and their progress, they'll be inspired. So many more ladies will come forward for the betterment of our society. And you see, any female, she has got multiple facets in her life. She has to play the role of a mother, role of a wife, role of a daughter, everything. And she, I'm just telling my story. My wife is also a professor of neonatology in PJ, the same rank or same salary which I am drawing. But every day in the morning, she packs my breakfast. So in addition to their workplace, they have to maintain this home affairs and other stuff also. So is it not their contributions? So I think this is a high time we should appreciate the way you appreciate your wife. You should appreciate our female or lady colleagues also, so that the other juniors get inspired. So I think I don't want to extend my talk more. But I think I'll definitely have a request to the USI Council for the 2 things which I have proposed. With these few words, I just said thank you very much for inviting me, and I am expecting a feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mete, for those very kind and encouraging words. I really look forward to Urology Society of India conferences being more inclusive. May I now request, and it's indeed my proud pleasure and privilege to have Dr. Raj Maheshwari amongst us. Ma'am, over to you for all your opening remarks, as well as I think you have some presentations, so we would love to see that. Can we make ma'am a co-host so that we can see the slides? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm slide sharing.
Yes, ma'am. So for some members who are non-urologists, I'm just formally introducing Dr. Raj Maheshwari as one of the senior most members of Women of Urological Society of India, known for her pioneering work in female pelvic floor as well as female urology related issues. And ma'am, we're really proud to have you on today's webinar. Over to you. Ma'am, you can start your talk. Can the host check whether Dr. Raj Maheshwari's network has any issues? Navneet or Kiran? Anybody from USI office?
Madam, her photo is gone still. And I
Okay.
think the network has gone.
Okay, let's just wait for a while. Or else we can move ahead, request the next faculty to take over, and then we can go on to Madam's slide. Let's just wait for a while. Yes, I can see that ma'am is on a phone. So friends, yeah.
Hello,
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. I can hear you.
Anita, please
Yes.
tell the technical team to let
Yes.
me share my screen because I
Yeah.
think
So they will, I'm just requesting them to make you a co-host, and then they will,
fine.
you will be able to
She
share
is the,
this.
Right.
she is the
Can you hear me
madam.
now? Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can. Can you share
Okay.
your screen because you are the co-host now? Can you share the
No.
screen?
Yeah.
You will be able to. Yes, madam, we can see and we can hear you as well. You can start. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now you have my slide and you
Yes.
can hear me.
Yes, of course.
There is a note which comes as sent to Zoom. Don't send it. The minute I touch it, the screen disappears. Please tell the team, the technical team, to sort it out, Anita. Can you hear me?
Yeah, madam, we can hear you. We can see your slides and we can see your video also. So you can start the presentation. Madam, you need to unmute.
Her screen share has disappeared.
Yeah.
She has perhaps unshared it again.
Yeah.
Navneet ji, can you do from your end? Or she has not sent you the slides?
Ma'am, I spoke to her. I think she's having some issue in sharing her presentation. So maybe if any of us have the presentation, we can share it for her.
No, we don't.
We don't?
We don't. So the best thing would be, I'm going to request our non-urology faculty to take over. And maybe Soumya, you could call up madam and tell her that we will have her presentation once she is ready. Because,
Okay, ma'am,
you know,
I'm
otherwise,
ready.
yeah, okay. So ma'am is ready.
I'm ready.
Great.
Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
No, we're not yet seeing your screen, ma'am, but we can hear
Well,
you.
I think you have to please tell the technical experts to see that they permit me to share. Okay,
Yeah, so
Anita, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you, madam. At the bottom, there will be a share screen icon.
I know, Anita, I'm used to it. We have done thousands of webinars, but it doesn't work now. Okay. There is some technical issue from that end. Please request them to sort it out. Okay. I can hold on till maybe you can ask the other speaker to start.
Yeah.
But please, because this is applicable to the other speaker also.
Yes,
the same problem the same issue may be encountered by the other person also.
Sure. So, while we are waiting to iron out the issues, may I request Dr. Prashant Muralkar to formally introduce our invited faculty. Prashant, may I request you to do that? Over to you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Friends, good evening and happy International Women's Day. It's a privilege to introduce a multifaceted person like Dr. Deepak Ketkar. When I came to Akola in 1987, and I was roaming in the city when I was doing my internship, those days elections were going on and in those days he was contesting on the for MLA on the Shiv Sena seat. So I was amazed that a person who is a doctor in Akola is contesting election for the legislative assembly, and somehow I got interested to know about this person. Now, what is Dr. Khelkar? Dr. Khelkar by profession is a psychiatrist, but as a person, he is a multifaceted person, as I told you earlier. He is basically a troubleshooter. If you have any problem, I can ask him. He tells me ins and outs of those issues, intricacies of the different things. He runs 4 hospitals in Akola and 1 hospital in Nagpur. And there are 4 psychiatrists in his family. He himself is a psychiatrist, his son is a psychiatrist, his daughter-in-law is a psychiatrist, and his daughter is also a psychiatrist. In addition to psychiatry, he's a business coach, he's a motivational speaker, and has been a seminar leader for Landmark Forum. And he has coached many businessmen so that they can earn profits, so that they can start new businesses, and so that they can be entrepreneurs. By qualification, he is a MD from PGI Chandigarh in psychiatry and also has a diploma in psychological medicine. He is also a DNB and had been a DNB teacher in psychiatry. He has authored 3 books, and I think there is no point in describing further. You all will be eager to hear from Dr. Khelkar. He's a very fantastic person, and maybe in future, if you have any chance to attend his webinar, you must. With these words, I request Dr. Khelkar to start his talk. Over to you, Dr. Khelkar.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, my slides are seen, PPTs?
Yes, we can
Prashant?
see.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
we
Yes,
can.
sir.
Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Prashant, for introducing me in a fantastic way. Happy Women's Day to everyone. Yesterday at Akola, we had a very grand function, day for yesterday actually. And we felicitated about 115 ladies who are businesswomen and working very good in their respective fields. So I'll start my talk. I am more comfortable in Hindi because the self-expression comes in Hindi. So if you do not have any problem with, so if you have any problem with Hindi, I can translate it in the language like English or so, whatever. So I'll first start in Hindi and then I can translate whenever the problem is there. 1 minute, yeah. So Prashant already has introduced me and my qualification. I'm specialized in hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, psychosexual diseases, alcohol de-addiction, and child psychology. This is our 40-bedded hospital at Akola. This is our 200-bed rehab center at Akola. This is our multi-speciality hospital at Akola. And this is hospital at Nagpur, mental hospital. I authored 3 books, as Prashant already said, and I'm a YouTuber also, more than 15 lakhs subscriber on 2-3 channels. You can see me on YouTube by putting my name. The name of the channel is Dr. Deepak. तो एक पत्नी जो है, पत्नी तब मां बन जाती है जब वह पति को अपने आप को सौंप देती है, like whenever she gives herself to husband. वह तब बहन बन जाती है जब वो उसके कपड़े बर्तन साफ करती है. वह तब बेटी बन जाती है जब वो प्रेम से खाना परोसती है. वह तब प्रेमिका बन जाती है जब वो बिना किसी स्वार्थ के लिए पति के लिए सोचती है. और तब वो मित्र बन जाती है जब पति उदास होता है. पत्नी के साथ रिश्ता भले ही एक होता है, पर एक ही रिश्ते में वो कई रिश्ते निभाती है. मैंने एक महिला से पूछा, आप वर्किंग वुमेन हो या हाउसवाइफ? आप वर्किंग वुमेन है या हाउसवाइफ? तो महिला ने दिल को छूने वाला लाजवाब किया। मैं फुल टाइम वर्किंग वीमेन हूँ, सुबह में अलार्म की क्लॉक हूँ, मैं घर के कुक, सर्वेंट एंड वेटर हूँ, मैं बच्चों की टीचर हूँ, मैं बुजुर्गों की, आई थिंक द स्लाइड हैज डिसअपीयर्ड, आई एम जस्ट अगेन गेटिंग बैक। मैं बुजुर्गों की नर्स हूँ, मैं घर की सिक्योरिटी हूँ, मैं मेहमानों की रिसेप्शनिस्ट हूँ, मैं फंक्शन में सज धज के जाने वाली मॉडल हूँ, मैं अपने पति की हीरोइन हूँ, मेरी कोई हॉलीडे नहीं होती है, मेरा कोई वेतन भत्ता नहीं है, इसके बावजूद भी मुझसे पूछा जाता है सारा दिन तूने क्या किया। देखो, हर मैं तो ये चाहता हूँ, मतलब मेरी मेरी डॉटर, जैसा भी प्रशांत ने बताया, लाइक शी साइकियाट्रिस्ट, एंड आई वांट दैट every woman, every lady, every girl should learn and should be highly qualified, because you don't know what is going to happen after marriage. You don't know what will happen after marriage. So अपने पाँव पर खड़े होना बहुत ही जरूरी है। टाइम का कोई भरोसा नहीं होता है। क्या होता है कि शादी के बाद बच्चे बड़े होने तक राह नहीं देखना। कोई भी लेडी ने बहुत है, क्या होता है कि what happens is, see, after marriage then you have one child, then you don't know how the second child was born, and then you are rearing both children, and then you think that after the children they grow old, then I'll start my practice. So what happens is, then you get disconnected, आपका confidence lose हो जाता है। So as soon as possible after the delivery you have to start working if you want to continue your career. एक डेंटिस्ट है मेरे पहचान के, मेरे क्लाइंट भी है, वो ज्वाइंट फैमिली में कैद हो गई। क्यों? क्योंकि शादी के पहले, बिफोर मैरिज, the things were not clear whether she will be allowed to practice or not. Now after marriage they are saying, in-laws, that she should work in the kitchen, she should be a cook, and now she is imprisoned now and tossing between housewife and being a dentist. So the thing should be clear before marriage, what is going to happen, whether she will be allowed to pursue her career. नौकरानी आप लेकर आया है क्या, पहले क्लियर करना चाहिए कि whether you have brought a maid servant in the house, a cook in the house, or you have brought a wife in the house. So these things should be cleared by every woman who gets married. क्या होता है, I am going to tell you seven problems which a woman faces, working woman. Number one is guilt feel. घर का भी देखना है, बाहर का भी देखना है। घर पर मैं टाइम नहीं दे रही हूँ, इसका गिल्ट उसको आता है। आई एम नॉट गिविंग टाइम इन द हाउस, आई एम नॉट गिविंग टाइम टू माई चिल्ड्रन। मम्मी को, सास को देखा है काम करते, बट लाइक शी हैज सीन her mother-in-law working in the house, and now she is saying, no, I am not giving time, and she feels guilty about it. Whether she is in the hospital or in the like pursuing her career or in the job, बच्चों ने खाना खाया कि नहीं, भाई घर में क्या हो रहा है, मतलब ये उसके दिमाग में चालू रहता है। और फिर उसको गिल्ट फीलिंग ये है कि मैं अच्छी मम्मी नहीं हूँ, मैं अच्छी पत्नी नहीं हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट गिविंग इनफ टाइम एट होम, मैं सेल्फिश हूँ। सेकेंड प्रॉब्लम इज, ये बार बार सुनना पड़ता है, दिस इज नॉट योर वर्क, ये तेरा तो काम है ही नहीं। बच्चे जिद्दी है, इसको शेयर किया, बोलते बंद करो प्रैक्टिस। बॉस तकलीफ दे रहा है, बोले छोड़ दो नौकरी। मैं बहुत थक जाती हूँ, बोले छोड़ दो प्रैक्टिस। थक जाती है तो मतलब कोई सोल्यूशन उसमें निकालता नहीं, उसको कोई लिसनिंग देते नहीं है कि भाई ठीक है, आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम है। तो बार बार ये ताने दिए जाते हैं कि तेरा काम नहीं, छोड़ दो, तो बंद कर दो, तकलीफ मत, घर पे रहो। ये सेकंड प्रॉब्लम है कि दिस इज नॉट योर वर्क। थर्ड जो है कि ये काम तो तुम्हारा है, ये काम तो तुम्हारा है। लाइक पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग है, नो शी हैज टू गो फॉर द पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग। रिश्तेदार बीमार है, मिलने जाना है, शी हैज टू गो। रिश्तेदार की शादी में टाइम देता है, शी हैज टू गो। मार्केट जा रही है, बोले ठीक है और भी 10 काम कर लूं जाते जाते आते आते। तो उसके ऊपर अपार्ट फ्रॉम वर्क, अपार्ट फ्रॉम जॉब, अपार्ट फ्रॉम प्रोफेशन, she has to do the household things also, and those responsibilities also she has to continue on. So she is working for 8 + 8, 16 hours, ऐसा देखा जाए। फिर ईगो प्रॉब्लम आता है हस्बैंड का। यदि वाइफ की प्रैक्टिस अच्छी चल रही है if she is earning a lot more than the husband, then the ego problem is there. रिसेप्शन का कार्ड आया, द कार्ड पे लिखा है मिसेस नीता एंड फैमिली. हस्बैंड पूछेंगे मेरा नाम कहाँ है भाई, मैं नहीं आऊंगा. उसका ईगो आ जाता है. एक शी हैज बीन एक्नॉलेज. ऑफिस में तारीफ हो गई, अप्रिशिएट किया, प्रमोशन मिला, जेलसी होती है. तो इसमें हस्बैंड वाइफ के प्रॉब्लम्स काफी जगह दिखने मिलते हैं इफ दे आर नॉट लाइक वेरी वेल काउंसेल्ड. क्योंकि कोई एक ऊपर गया तो दूसरे को फिर उसमें प्रॉब्लम आता है, जेलसी आती रहती है. अर्निंग हस्बैंड से ज्यादा है, हस्बैंड लो फील करेगा, इरिटेबल होगा, ताने मारेगा, टॉन्टिंग करते हैं, और फिर उसको प्यार रिस्पेक्ट नहीं मिलता. फिर रोक टोक, रेस्ट्रिक्शंस. बच्चों को कौन देखेंगे, आप काम पे जाएंगे तो. टेक केयर अच्छे नहीं होते हैं, मेड अच्छी नहीं है, खाना अच्छा पकता नहीं है, तुमको देखना होगा. कुछ हुआ तो तुम्हारे वजह से हुआ, तुम देख लो. पैसा कमा के क्या फायदा, छोड़ दो ये. मतलब इस तरह से रेस्ट्रिक्शंस काफी आते हैं कोई भी काम करने के लिए. दिस इज द फिफ्थ प्रॉब्लम अ वुमन, वर्किंग वुमन फेसेस. द सिक्स्थ वन, शक करना. ये काफी जगह होता है. ऑफिस हॉस्पिटल में ज्यादा क्यों रुक रही है, भाई, और स्टेइंग ऑन देयर फॉर लॉन्ग टाइम. छेड़छाड़ होती है, लोगों की नजरें अच्छी नहीं होती. ऑफिस में भी इधर उधर लोग अच्छे तरह से देखते नहीं, लेट हो गया तो. कोई छोड़ने घर पे आया, इफ समबडी इज ड्रॉपिंग हर एट होम, तो उसके ऊपर शक होगा, क्या तुम्हारा क्या क्या चल रहा है भाई, बड़े हंस हंस के बात कर रही थी, क्या बात है. तो मैंने मेरे प्रैक्टिस में ऐसा देखा है कि काफी लोगों को ये प्रॉब्लम भी होता है. एक तो ईगो प्रॉब्लम है, और ये सस्पिशियसनेस, और ये बहुत प्रॉब्लम हस्बैंड वाइफ में होते रहते. सातवां और लास्ट है, खुद के लिए टाइम नहीं. टाइम फॉर हर. सुबह से चक्री बनी रहती है, अपने लिए समय नहीं है. आप अपने आप को पूछो कि आपने अपने पसंद का खाना कब खाया. जो बच गया वो खाएंगे, जो बचा हुआ है खाएंगे, खुद के लिए कुछ नहीं करेंगे. तो ये 7 प्रॉब्लम्स है. मुझे see, I have given 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. I'll be just brushing up the things, and then we'll have question answers. So there are the 7 problems. Now I'm giving the solutions. इसमें solution क्या है, करना क्या है, what are the solutions. ये सब तो होता ही है, और फिर solution क्या है. तो नंबर 1, जल्दी उठना. मेडिटेशन, एक्सरसाइज यदि आप करते हैं, आधा घंटा पहले खुली हवा में जाते हैं, उसका आनंद लेना चाहिए. ये बहुत ही जरूरी है, एक्सरसाइज एंड मेडिटेशन. बिकॉज इफ यू आर हेल्दी देन द होल फैमिली इज हेल्दी. तो जल्दी उठना चालू करना है, ताकि आप अपने आप को टाइम दे सकेंगे. अपने आप को टाइम दिया, थोड़ा मेडिटेशन किया, एक्सरसाइज किया, थोड़ा पढ़ लिया है, तो बाकी सब उठने के पहले यदि आप कर लेती है तो आपके लिए फॉरवर्ड होने के लिए अच्छा रहता है. तो जल्दी उठना चालू करो. नंबर 2, टू डू लिस्ट चालू करो. बच्चों की पढ़ाई, सफाई, वॉशिंग, लिस्ट बनाओ. पूरे वीक का खाने का चार्ट बनाओ. क्यों, क्योंकि पूछेंगे आज सब्जी कौन सी बनाऊं, बोले आपको क्या लगता है, हस्बैंड पूछेंगे. मतलब हर बार प्रॉब्लम, तो टाइम जाता है उसमें ज्यादा. तो आपने पूरे वीक का खाना बना दिया, मतलब चार्ट बना दिया कि दिस इज द मेनू फॉर द होल वीक, तो उसमें टाइम जाएगा नहीं, और सबको साथ में लेके बनाया तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा. क्या बनाऊं ये पूछने की जरूरत नहीं. देन डेलीगेशन ऑफ एवरी एक्टिविटी. जो भी एक्सेप्ट योर प्रोफेशनल स्किल छोड़ के बाकी एक्टिविटी यू हैव टू डेलीगेट. Delegate all activities: driving, accounts, cooking, teaching children, cleaning, washing. So if any job or activity or work comes to you, ask yourself to whom I can delegate this work. मैं किसको दे सकती हूँ ये काम. क्योंकि आप यदि, क्या होता है कि खुद ने काम किया तो टाइम जाएगा, फिर आपको खुद के लिए टाइम नहीं मिलेगा. तो एनी जॉब. बच्चों को आप, मेरे पास में एक लेडी आई, शी इज डॉक्टर. नहीं, बच्चों को तो सी आई हैव टू टीच माय चाइल्ड, my son, then he doesn't eat, with the maid servant, I have to feed him, something like this. तो मैंने उनको बोला कि आप टीचर है कि डॉक्टर है. मैं डॉक्टर हूँ. मैंने बोला फिर हायर अ वेरी गुड टीचर who is better than you, and that teacher will teach your child. Don't intermingle, don't interfere in teaching, because you are not a teacher, you are a doctor. So do your job. If she is driving, I always ask, are you a driver or a doctor? मैं डॉक्टर हूँ. फिर ड्राइविंग क्यों कर रहे हैं, आदमी रखो. पेट्रोल भरने के लिए आप जाएंगे, टाइम लगा देंगे 15-15, 20 मिनट, आधा घंटा. कुकिंग करेंगे, मैं उनको पूछता हूँ, अरे कुक और डॉक्टर. नहीं डॉक्टर. फिर कुकिंग क्यों कर रहे भाई. आपकी जिसमें मास्टरी है आपका जिसमें स्किल है, आपका जो पैशनेट, यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट द थिंग्स, डू दैट रादर देन डूइंग थिंग्स व्हिच यू आर नॉट एक्सपर्ट एंड व्हिच यू आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू। और इसमें गिल्ट, जो मैंने पहले बताया, गिल्ट रखने की कोई बात नहीं है, नो गिल्ट। Delegate, 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 and delegate. If you take this mantra today from this talk, I think that will solve many of your problems. Many. So delegation of each and everything. मजाक में पूछता हूं मैं, जैसे जोक, डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज, कि भाई हस्बैंड के साथ में घूमने जाना है, वो डेलीगेट मत करो। हस्बैंड के साथ में घूमने जाना है, डोंट डेलीगेट दैट यू हैव टू गो, अदरवाइज डेलीगेट एवरीथिंग वॉट एवर यू वांट टू डू। तो पर्सनल जो काम है, पर्सनल, वो काम छोड़ के आपको एवरीथिंग यू हैव टू डेलीगेट, so that will save your time and you can do a lot. 20 minutes nap if possible you can take, so that will refresh. क्या होता है कि दिन भर सवेरे से आप जल्दी उठ जाते हैं, तो एक 20 मिनट्स का नैप यदि आप लेते हैं तो आपको बहुत फ्रेश लगेगा, इवनिंग प्रैक्टिस के लिए अच्छा लगेगा। इफ योर ओटी इज इन द इवनिंग, दैट विल बी बेटर। एंड स्टार्ट हैविंग सम हॉबी, क्रिएटिविटी, यू कैन जॉइन डांस, म्यूजिक, पेंटिंग। उसमें क्या होता है, रिलैक्सेशन काफी मिलता है और आपको मेंटली आप बहुत ही फिट रहते हैं। तो जो है हॉबी, सो डेवलप हॉबी, और हॉबी में अच्छा टाइम आपको देना है। क्वालिटी टाइम विद चिल्ड्रन, हस्बैंड एंड इन लॉज, ये बहुत जरूरी है। ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब, और क्वालिटी टाइम मीन्स व्हाट? क्वालिटी टाइम मीन्स यू आर विद देम एंड listening, listening and listening. I have seen so many people, and you must have also seen people go to a hotel with family, and everybody, including children, they are busy with the mobile and they are watching WhatsApp or something. Then what is the use of going there? It's not a quality time. then हम तो पिछले हफ्ते में गए थे होटल में, हमने जाके खाना खाया, सब साथ में तो थे होटल में, मगर खाना खाया तो आप साथ में फिजिकली थे, मेंटली यू आर नॉट देयर टुगेदर। तो आपको क्या करना है, आपको क्वालिटी टाइम देना है। और क्वालिटी टाइम का मतलब ये होता है, यू आर लिसनिंग, लिसनिंग एंड लिसनिंग। क्या डील कर रहा है बच्चा, क्या डील कर रहा है, हस्बैंड क्या डील कर रहा है, इन-लॉज क्या डील कर रहे हैं। इफ यू जस्ट लिसन, द फर्स्ट लेसन ऑफ गुड कम्युनिकेशन इज दैट यू आर ए गुड लिसनर। ये बहुत जरूरी है। तो जॉइंट फैमिली में रहना अच्छा है मेरे, दिस इज माई व्यू, दिस इज माई व्यू, बिकॉज आपको इन-लॉज का काफी सपोर्ट मिलता है आपके बच्चों को देखने के लिए, रादर देन मेड। तो इन-लॉज का टाइम पास भी होता है, बच्चों को देखते देखते बच्चों की अच्छी देखभाल भी होती है। मेरे पास में बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं, बोले मेरे सास का मेरा पट्टा नहीं है, बहुत झगड़े होते रहते हैं। मैंने यू हैव टू बेयर इट, बिकॉज यू आर गेटिंग सो मच एडवांटेज अदर देन दिस। बहुत सारा एडवांटेज आपको मिलता है ना, बोले हाँ मिलता है एडवांटेज, मतलब फिर ठीक है ना, फिर थोड़ा सहन भी करो, क्योंकि आपके बच्चों को खाना खिलाना, उनको देखना, देखभाल करना आप नहीं है तो आप सास ससुर के साथ में रहते हो तो बहुत ही अच्छा है। मैं भी मेरे पिताजी के साथ में, मेरे माँ के साथ में हम रहे। मेरी माँ अभी भी, शी इज 91 नाउ एंड स्टिल शी इज वर्किंग एंड वी आर विद हर एंड शी स्टिल लुक्स आफ्टर माय ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन, मतलब उनका देख रहे थे। शी हैज लुक्ड आफ्टर मी, शी हैज लुक्ड आफ्टर माय सन एंड नाउ सन, ग्रैंडसन। तो बहुत बहुत सारा सपोर्ट हो जाता है, इन-लॉज का टाइम पास होता है, बच्चों की अच्छी देखभाल होती है। रेजिंग चिल्ड्रन इज ए फुल टाइम जॉब, ऐसा देखा जाए। यू आर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग टुमारोज नेशन, नर्चरिंग चिल्ड्रन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और आप इसे देखेंगे नहीं तो somebody will make संस्कार on them, उनके ऊपर संस्कार जो है आप नहीं करेंगे तो कोई तो भी और करेगा, and that will be detriment if you are not like polishing them, having संस्कार on them, है ना, संस्कार करना है उनके ऊपर, आप नहीं करेंगे तो और कोई करेगा। फिर कौन करेगा, उनका दोस्त करेगा, बाजू वाला करेगा, वट एवर, टीचर करेंगे, एंड देन यू मे नॉट लाइक दैट। चिल्ड्रन आर केप्ट बिजी विद मोबाइल्स एंड स्क्रीन, ये बिल्कुल टालना है। ये बहुत ही कॉमन हो चुका है, वेरी वेरी कॉमन। फटाक से उनके हाथ को मोबाइल पकड़ देते, चिल्ड्रन आर यूज मोबाइल्स एंड स्क्रीन, नाउ दे आर गेटिंग एडिक्टेड। अभी इतना इतना प्रॉब्लम बढ़ा हुआ है ये। एवरेज में इन इंडिया, एवरेज इंडियन हैविंग ए मोबाइल spends 6 hours on the screen. These are the stats I'm telling you. 6 hours per day. And बच्चों को अभी तक मतलब ये एडिक्शन कर दिया है, and now they are addict. मेरे पास में 2-3 बच्चे मतलब आए, they were hospitalized, they were kept in the nursing home, because they were getting so violent if the mobile was not given. Absolutely violent. आक्रामक होना, मारामारी करना, तोड़फोड़ करना, तुमको मतलब ट्रीटमेंट देनी पड़ी फॉर द एडिक्शन. तो ये बहुत ही जरूरी है कि भाई आप बच्चों को सिर्फ काम के लिए मोबाईल दो एंड यू हैव टू मॉनिटर द मोबाईल. मराठीमध्ये आम्ही म्हणतो, मराठी ज्यांना येतं त्यांना, की 3 नाटकं आयुष्यामध्ये नेहमी टाळा. एक आहे इच्छा माझी पुरी करा, संशय कल्लोळ एंड मान अपमान. ये 3 ड्रामाज जो है, सो अवॉइड दिस 3 ड्रामाज इन योर लाइफ. विचारते 3 ड्रामाज. इच्छा माझी पुरी करा मतलब मेरी इच्छा पूरी करो, संशय कल्लोळ मतलब सस्पिशियसनेस, एंड मान अपमान मतलब ईगो प्रॉब्लम. These 3 dramas were very popular in Marathi, and I always say that avoid these things in the life. Your life will be much happier. And now last, cash बढ़ाओ. Cash. और कैश क्या बढ़ाने का? if you want to reduce your tension, stress कम करना है तो कैश बढ़ाना है. और कैश का मतलब होता है K is knowledge. If you are knowledgeable, you will not have any problem in the earlier night before surgery. Knowledgeable and skills. S का skill है. काफी स्किल्स अच्छे हैं और आपको नॉलेज अच्छा है और आपने स्ट्रेटेजी अच्छी बनाई हुई है और आपकी हैबिट भी अच्छी है, एटीट्यूड आपका अच्छा है, तो आपको पहले दिन रात को काफी सर्जन को नींद नहीं आती कल की सर्जरी है करके. तो वो होगा नहीं, बिकॉज मे बी दैट यू आर नॉट स्किलफुल, मे बी दैट strategy is not there, maybe planning is not there, maybe the people are not trained, maybe that you are having not enough knowledge, whatever is there. तो मैं हरदम बोलता हूँ कि कैश आपको बढ़ाने का है. Knowledge, attitude, skills, habits, and strategy. Normally, women who do job is called working women. तो क्या हाउसवाइफ काम नहीं करती है? क्या वो तो कम है? They are great multitasker, best time manager, best bargainers, master chef, fastest pickup and drop service provider. They do uncountable tasks. 4 दीवारों से तो इमारत बनती है. ये unappreciated housewives. You people are not housewife all of your house life. तो ये जो है, ये आपको मैं पढ़ के बताता हूँ फिर से कि इसमें थोड़ा सा इसको बड़ा करना होगा ताकि शायद आप पढ़ेंगे नहीं, बता पता करते लिखा लगे नहीं. वो देखिए इमेज ये बड़ा नहीं होगा शायद. एक मिनट, जस्ट यस. तो ऑफिस से आकर मैं आराम करता हूँ, वो घर का काम करती है. घर देखकर मेरी थकावट बढ़ जाती है और उसकी जैसे उतर जाती है. मैं बिस्तर पर सिमट जाता हूँ, वो घर के हर कोने में फैल जाती है. मुझे आंखों में थकान दिखती है, उसे घर के कोने में धूल और जाली दिखती है. इतनी हिम्मत पता नहीं उसमें कहां से आती है. मैं थककर चूर हो जाता हूँ, वो पानी पिलाकर चाय बनाती है. गर्मा गर्म चाय का एक एक घूंट आराम से पीता हूँ. ठंडी हो रही चाय उसका बेसब्री से इंतजार करती है. वो खाना तैयार करती है, मैं दफ्तर में कोई बातों पर बड़बड़ाता हूँ. ना वो परेशान दिखती है, घर एवं दफ्तर में वो भी काम करती है. उसे देखकर बच्चे मुस्कुराते हैं, उसके गले से चिपक जाते हैं. मुझे देखकर बच्चे मुंह बनाते हैं और डर कर भाग जाते हैं. वो थोड़ा सा लेट जाती है, बच्चे खेलते झगड़ते चीख पड़ते हैं. मैं बच्चों में 2-4 जड़ता हूँ, वो उठकर उनको प्यार करती है. तो ये है माता. मन में उड़ने की चाह लिए, मंजिलें कांटों भरी राह लिए, चेहरे पर छोटी सी मुस्कान के पीछे इतना दर्द छिपाती है. ये कामकाजी माएं परिवार का सारा बोझ उठाती रहती है. बस पकड़ने के चक्कर में खाना भूल जाती है. बच्चों का टिफिन, पति का टिफिन तैयार करने के बाद जो बचता है अपने लिए ले आती है. ये कामकाजी माएं कितना दर्द छिपाती है. अपनी नन्ही सी गुड़िया दूसरों को सौंप आती है. खुद के अस्तित्व की लड़ाई में खुद को भूल जाती है. थकान इतनी होती कि रात चुटकियों में निकल जाती है. ये कामकाजी माएं कितना दर्द छिपाती है. तो सैल्यूट टू ऑल women, all urologist women, and all those who are there as urologist and non-urologist. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Prashant, for giving me this opportunity. It was because of Prashant that I could come over here and share my views to you. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask. I'll be most happy to answer the questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kerkar. It was a very interesting talk, I must say, and it did touch upon many of the issues that we are actually planning to discuss in the panel. So I hope you're not in a hurry to leave, because there is a lot more happening in the webinar. And during the webinar, during the panel, maybe I will address some questions to you. So please stay, but thank you so much for that lovely talk. We move
Thank
ahead
you.
with the meeting, and may I request Dr. Raj Maheshwari to share her screen and to give her comments as the chair of Women of Urological Society, or WOU. Over to you, Dr. Raj Maheshwari. नवनीत जी, देखिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ना? यस.
Am I audible?
Yes, madam, you are. Please go ahead.
You have the screen now?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay, right. So the current theme, the UN's International Women's Day's current theme is Invest in Women and Accelerate Progress. It focuses on addressing economic disempowerment. And while the campaign theme is Inspire Inclusion, that which highlights the significance of diversity and empowerment across all sectors of society. Emphasize on recognizing the importance of diversity and empowerment in various spheres of the world. And while the campaign theme is Inspire Inclusion, underscoring the pivotal role of inclusion in advancing gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, diversity is about embracing one another's uniqueness. So let us just say about the female doctors. The first urologist, who is the first urologist lady in India? Number of urologists in India, achievements of urologists, who broke the glass ceiling, etc. So we know that the doors of the medical school was shut for education of women, but that was first tackled by Anandi Gopal Joshi, and she became the first doctor, female doctor. She did her course in Pennsylvania Women's Medical College. It definitely made the path easier for the women doctors coming. More or less, in the same period, Kadambini Ganguly, she became the first Indian woman to get the medical degree from Calcutta Medical College in 1886. Later, she made the Calcutta Medical College open its doors for women students. The star from South is Muthulakshmi Reddy. Not only in medicine she has accomplished, she was a social reformer and Padma Bhushan awardee. It is worth remembering that the first woman who was awarded degrees in the Western medicine, Anandi Joshi, and then we have the K. Ukami, a Christian, and Sabat Islam Boli, a Jewish Syrian lady, who were the first female urologists. In late 18th century, industrial revolution came into picture. So women wanted to work and they want to pursue careers in medicine. Powerful man in top hat and tailcoat preached. What did they preach? They said it is not desirable for women to pursue studies like anatomy. So that was just the beginning of women in medical school. Subsequently, what really has happened is male medical students had an exclusive dissecting anatomy lab, and women were given a paper mesh, which is a castrated one, because that wouldn't let women go sexually astray. Who are the visible women? The first woman, Dr. Anne Bromal, she devised the lithotrate in 1879. In fact, she is a gynecologist from Philadelphia. And then there is Mary McGregor. She did her urology training in 1928 in the New York Infirmary, founded the Urology Fellowship Program for Women. Rosemary Shoemaker, She did her medical school in 1933 and her fellowship in Mayo Clinic. And then we also have Victoria Lisbasi from University of Chicago in 1942. Then Elizabeth Pauline Pickett, most of us know. She was an instructor in neurology at Cornell University Medical School, New York Infirmary. Certainly in India, see, more or less in the same period, you see, 1962 was Elizabeth Pauline, and here Lakshmi Shankaran, she did her MCH course in 1967 from Madras Medical College, Chennai. What was the plight of the female urologist then? Well, achieving gender equality at the workplace in issue in Asian countries. There was disparity, there was discrimination, there was a dire need for diversity and equity. And you can see the difference between the opportunities given to women and men. There were so many factors like microaggression, inequality, inequity, discrimination. Which tops the list is the pigeonholing and glass ceiling. Still, I remember how I was coaxed to take up female urology instead of doing any other subspecialty. So there were and there are predefined societal norms, cultural gender biases, which are detrimental to the progression of women and our country. We have to prioritize beyond gender, considering the dedication, talent, innovation, everything. So currently in the WOU of USI, there are 99 members, out of which 40 are trainee members and 2 international members. Ladies and gentlemen, so if you look at the contribution of the workforce in India by the female urologists, it is roughly around 2%. But in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, it comes to 4.3%. This graph certainly shows the first urologist, Lakshmi Shankaran, joined in 1967. And you see, I joined in 1983. You see, nearly for a quarter century, there were only 2 of us as female urologists in the field. But in the last 20 years, you can see how the graph goes up. Suddenly, there is resurgence, and many urologists have willingly taken up the urology specialty. And when you compare it with the American Urology Association, they have a 10% contribution in the workforce. And it is not a lot, but a milestone in a male-dominated society. Yes, women in urology have slowly but surely have made a lot of progress and won the race, but we females have to navigate quite well in the ocean of urology. There is a lot more for us to do. Why women of urology for us? Because we need to help each other in each and every step, right from the training phase till the, even though we become the specialist practitioner, still we need to help each other. And certainly the USA has given us an opportunity to accomplish it. I would like to thank the former president, Ravindra Sevdis and Keshavamurthy, because they really gave us 2 opportunities to have an exclusive session in the USICON meetings. And then the next president, Sanjay Kulkarni, and the late Dr. Lakshman Prabhu, they did their best and officially declared the WOU section. And for the interim phase, Dr. Prashant Mulwaka was there, but certainly he was very helpful to us. And hopefully, I am sure, and Lalit Shah and Uttam Mehta will definitely do their best to promote advanced and healthy subsection. So normally we have, there are 4 members here, Sheetal, Nikita, Mutilata, and Sagorika Paul, and we have just distributed across our country. So the main objective is motivate more women residents to take up urology. You give an opportunity to voice your opinion, enable members to solve professional hitches, obstacles, and difficulties. So what we need to do is we need to be united, and we have to aim for equity, equality with dedication and commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I take this opportunity to thank the ISU Chair, Dr. Sujata and Dr. Anita, and all other members, along with Dr. Lalit Shah and Uttam Mete, who helped us to bring out this session on the International Women's Day. Thank you very much. Stop share. Over to you, Anita.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very, very inspiring talk and beautiful slides, I must say, as always. And that does open a lot of areas for us to discuss. And I'm going to now move on to the panel discussion. There is no PowerPoint presentation in this panel discussion, but I will be addressing questions to some of the members of WOU. And I would request all of those members to keep their video on so that let the viewer know who the speaker is. We all know that the theme this year, and everybody has spoken about this, is to inspire inclusion. We all need to learn to walk in step with our colleague urologists. The colleagues could be men or women. However, let me re-emphasize that each one of us has a very supportive male member in our life. That could be father, brother, a close friend, life partner, a colleague, or a junior colleague, a mentor. And we owe so much to our male colleagues. And interestingly, it is the insistence of male members of USI that WOU started. So I start this panel discussion with the thought that we're extremely grateful to all our male colleagues for letting us be, for letting us walk in step with them. And we also appreciate that it's not as yet an equal field, and there are some areas where there is scope for improvement. So let's now open the panel discussion. And I know we are short on time, so we're going to try and wind this up in 15 minutes so that we have the next very interesting talk on importance of intimacy in our life. So my panel has members of WOU, and I will open the panel discussion by asking Dr. Shrikala, a senior urologist and urogynecologist from South India. I'm going to ask Shrikala, what do you think are the challenges, overall challenges faced by all of us?
This urologist, yes, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, and
yes.
I hope the video is on as well.
Yes, I did switch it on only.
Lovely. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Shrikala. Thank you so much.
Yes, madam. Definitely entering a male-dominated specialty was very difficult, and it was really totally we are caught unaware in the situation, and we need to. There were a lot of challenges because first the entire faculty were men, the entire colleagues were men, entire patients were also men. Almost 95% of the patients were men. That was one challenge. Second, we were not really readily accepted by everybody. So we had to really, fight through all the challenges. We were not accepted. So a lot of dedication, hard work, and support. So much so, many times we even felt like quitting. Whether is it worth all this struggle was in my mind. Of course, I really tell that a lot of support is needed by the family. Of course, my children were very small at that point of time. My parents were there to take care of the children. So sometimes I was in a state that I used to go to the parent teachers meeting and did not even know that which section my child was. When we were PG, it was a scenario, and then from there I had to call and ask which section the child is. So in everywhere, that guilt conscious also was there. And it was a question of real struggle being accepted by everybody. And I tell you, I mean, not only that I would have faced struggle throughout, everybody would have faced. It's not an easy recognition. It is not that it is a cakewalk, not a bed of roses, real hard way out. But I would promise the junior colleagues that with real dedication, hard work, practice, and prayers, we will be able to win. And I feel now the younger generation is having a more supportive mentors. We all never had this thing like a urological society teaching us, to know, and even we did not have the net or things like that. So to know what was it, or what is the answer, so much difficult. So now technology is very useful and very helpful. So the same challenges all of us face too can be overcome with dedication, practice, prayers, and support. And we must never let go. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shrikala. I think the tagline is "Don't let go." And I really appreciate your comments. And yes, the path is difficult. There is a lot of hard work, but that is there for both the genders. There are certain situations which are unique to women. And my next question is to Dr. Nikita. See, nowadays the NEET exam would mean that I'm doing my general surgery maybe in Maharashtra, and I will get a PG seat maybe in Delhi, and that super specialization PG I'm talking about. And then by the time we reach urology, we are 29, 30. Many of us are married, some of us are in a relationship. And that opens a very different area. And let's hear Dr. Nikita's views about, will that impact a relationship or maybe a long distance relationship? Yes, Nikita. First, introduce yourself. Where are you right now? And then go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Dr. Nikita Shrivastava. I am Assistant Professor Urology at AIIMS Bhopal. And it is said that it's lonely at the top. So sometimes it is there that while pursuit of excellence, we sometimes become lonely. And being the only, most of us are the only working female in our departments, and especially in institutes of national importance, there are only one or two residents admitted per session. So there are very less people in the department, and due to hectic duties, we could not bond with the people of other specialities. And I was also living away from my family and have very less people in my department. So at times I felt very lonely and very stressed out. So I think that mostly 3 points help during that phase. First is some engaging in some sort of physical activity like going to gym or some kind of hobby class, or especially involving rigorous physical activity for half to 1 hour. So that gives you the endorphins for the day and also make you interact with people of other branches or non-medicos also. So that breaks the monotony. Second thing is making use of technology to its best. Like in long distance relationships, the WhatsApp video call and FaceTime and all helps a lot. And third thing is that we should never stay behind from asking help from our parents. Because sometimes, some of grown-up females, especially in their 30s, might think that speaking their heart out to their parents might give them stress. And this is not the age to, tell our problems to all. But I think that parents just love being felt needed at this point of time also. If you ask for help, they would be more than happy to help you out. And like during my final exams, I was very much stressed and I was alone. So I called my parents to stay with me. They stayed with me during my exam time for 3-4 months, and that really helped. Otherwise, I would have flunked for sure. So it's like you should always reach out to your parents because they might be retired. At least one of the parent might be, not be working. So you can call them. And like connecting with friends and family through technology helps a lot. And yes, a dose of hobby or physical activity is a must.
Lovely,
Thank you, ma'am.
Nikita. Some very, very important takeaways here. Being alone and being lonely are two completely different areas. And you may be alone in the department, but you can use the technology and not feel lonely. And of course, seek help from family members. This was one of the points Dr. Kerkar was repeatedly emphasizing on: delegate, and that means actually seek help and talk to your family members. Lovely. Soumya, I'm going to throw a very interesting question to you. Urology being a male-dominated society, the conferences are also male-dominated, and we always have these evening entertainment programs. Now, young and old members mixed together, it can lead to an awkward situation. India is a diverse country. So everybody's idea of what is right and what is wrong can be very different from north, south, east, and west. Over to you, Soumya. This is a little delicate topic, but I felt it needed talking about. Please go ahead. Soumya, introduce yourself.
Yes, so hello everyone. I'm Dr. Soumya. I'm practicing in Rajkot. So, like ma'am said, of course, we have gala dinners in all of our conferences. And at times, I feel as a female attending those gala dinners, you know that there is almost 2,000 males who are attending compared to hardly 50 females probably in the conference. So yes, you do feel a bit apprehended whenever you are attending these gala dinners. Because personally also, I feel that at times there are some senior faculty who, sometimes they tend to misbehave. Not exactly misbehave, but their behavior kind of makes you feel a bit uncomfortable.
Little
And
awkward, yes.
yeah, it is little awkward. So I feel that we are urologists, and as urologists, we are the front runners for the community. So if we cannot create a safe and a comfortable space for each other within the same fraternity, so that is something that we should think about. So generally, when such situations arises, like I experienced firsthand one or two situations. So after that, like I always used to be on a lookout as to if I see some problematic entity is coming my way or something of that sort. And at the same time, like I had a great rapport with my seniors and my juniors. So like they will immediately know, acha ma'am, kahin phase hue lag rahe. Okay, so then they will immediately come to my rescue, or they'll be like, acha ma'am, this doctor is calling you or someone is calling you, and just intervene in between. So, but I
Yeah.
feel that this intervening should not be, necessary in a situation like this. Like we have heard of
Very
all
well.
this in other office parties, but
Yeah.
I feel being a urologist and being, in the one of the top tier of the community, if I may say, we shouldn't be having such problems among us. So that is
Very well
something
said,
that.
Soumya. I think the need is to create a safe space. And if
Yes.
we ourselves don't demand a safe space, how can we get it? And so first thing is speak up. And if you don't approve of something, say no. And remember, seek help from your colleagues. Because for every unwanted member in the society, there are several members who are good and who are going to be running for your help, so to say. So speak up, seek help, but a very important point, and thank you for raising it. Dr. Swati, so we all do the MCH, DNB, whatever degree, and by now, we have been in medical school, 5 years of MBBS, 3 years of MS, 3 years of urology, and many of us doing a bond. And after that, some of us have to do a subspecialization. Should we be doing all that? And when will we finish our education? When will we start practice? And if it is subspecialization, does it have to be female urology? Dr. Swati, introduce yourself and tell us what you think.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Dr. Swati Nayak. I'm practicing consultant in Marengo Sims Hospital in Ahmedabad. I'm almost finished my MCH in 2015, so I've been into this practice for the last 10 years. Because as women, when we chose urology, I feel we were those ambitious few who really wanted to put career before other things in our life. That's why we decided to walk down this path. And I remember telling my husband, I quoted for 5 years before I got married. I remember telling him, if you say no to my MCH or further studies, it'll be that other than you. I'll choose that over you. So that was the way I was. So when I finished my MCH and I thought, okay, I want to subspecialize, and maybe I want to choose a field. Everybody thought it will be female urology, and that was what was said. So I remember asking, if men are not asked to do andrology, why women are asked to do female urology?
Lovely
so we
thought.
have a right. Yes, we have a right to choose what we want. But I have not taken a subspecialty fellowship. Rather, because at that time my son was small. I had already done 3 years of MCH when he was 2 years old to 5 years old. And picking up another 2 years or so did not feel very nice. But I would like to say that I decided to wait for some more time and then do a FRCS exam overseas. I answered FRCS overseas. And then I registered to UK and I went to UK and worked where I wanted to work to get experience in the field of advanced endourology, which I wanted to practice. So maybe not directly going ahead and choosing a subspecialty fellowship and doing a training formally, we can probably talk to our family what is important to us. And I would like to do something more. I want your support, and then maybe go and find ways around it to get it and do it. Because unless, like you said, unless you ask what you want and you put across to your family what you want to do, they may not be able to understand how desperately or how passionately you want to follow that field. Just another short few seconds, Momo ma'am. When my son was at that age, when my son was 5, if I had chosen, I remember his teacher telling me, your son needs you now because he is missing you. When he was away from me when my exams were going on, and he's a little timid, he feels introvert, he needs you around. So I took the decision of not doing a subspecialty then. But when we went to UK, my son was 11 years old, and he was the one who used to leave the house last, lock it and go to school, come back before us, open the door and be at home, and we got back. So he today is a 13-year-old boy, very strong and able to do, walk the life very proud. I'm very proud the way he has grown. So I feel I've done justice to both the fronts of my life. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Swati. A brave mom, brave urologist, and a braver child. I'm going to ask my next question to Dr. Shruti, and then I'm going to maybe request Dr. Kelkar to comment on that. Shruti, are you there? Dr.
Yes,
Shruti?
I'm there. Yes.
So, Shruti, all of us, we've talked endlessly about, our life, our career, our family, and often it is understood and taken for granted that woman has to manage both. Also, we have to look after house, look after family. So we don't have to be married for that. Look after parents, look after household chores. Do you think sharing that is tricky? But do you think it's very important that you talk about sharing household work? Over to you, Dr. Shruti. Introduce yourself.
Good evening to all the members in this webinar. I'm Dr. Shruti Pandit. I'm a practicing in Nagpur. And what Sir said today really resonated with me. That is something which I want to share today. Although women are very close to achieving their equality at the workplace, it is not so at home. At home, there is a gender divide. There are some domestic responsibilities, cultural expectations.
Shruti, I'm so sorry. I'm interrupting. Is there a slight disturbance from your side? I'm getting a constant friction kind of sound. Yeah, go on.
Is it better, ma'am?
Definitely better. Sorry for interrupting. Please go ahead.
So, ma'am, coming to my point, there are some cultural expectations of women at home which don't really allow them to be equal at home as much as we are striving for equality at the workplace. A simple example, ma'am. So the place where I did urology from as a resident, we had a mentor who was so supportive and did not distinguish your gender. However, even during that time, I was a first year resident. First year resident usually has to come to work very early before everybody and the last person to leave. That was when I got married, and my senior who was in the same department. Before marriage, we were living on our own and doing the same work. After marriage, our work didn't change, although we were just living together. That's the only difference. Still, the questions came to me: are you cooking at home? What are you cooking? And despite being in the ward from 7 to 12, so with marriage, or it's just expected of women. Even today in our family, we have teachers, doctors, and other women of well respected in their respective workplaces. However, when there's a family meeting, it's very common. We see women are in the kitchen working or doing something. At the same time, men are sitting together. And men are like, okay, kitchen is not my responsibility or not this. I think somewhere that leads to a burnout in women. And they're not able to, like Sir said, when you're at your workplace, you're constantly thinking what to make for dinner, what to do this, what to do that. Has this person eaten? Has that person eaten? So all that is there. And that really creates a divide.
Yeah, very well said, Dr. Shruti. irrespective of what your profession is, whether you are married, unmarried, whatever, but a huge proportion of domestic chores does fall on the female member in the family. Dr. Kerkar, you've heard a lot of our urologists speak. I didn't ask you questions before because I wanted you to listen to all of them. Just a quick comment on whatever you've heard so far, and then we've got 5 more members. Each will speak for a minute, and then we will wind up this session. Yes, Dr. Kerkar.
Yeah. So the thing is, the thing should be clear before marriage. You know what is going to happen. If the things are clear before marriage, you know, like the other madam who was speaking, you know, like she said, either I'll choose you or the career, you know, tell me what to do. So that way. So the things are clear, what you are going to do, number one. Number two is, you think that you are the best cook, which is not the fact. The best urologist. You are not a cook. So tell your in-law, tell your husband, tell your child that I'll hire a very good cook, better than me, who will take care of everything from morning till night. They'll be taken care of. Hire a very good teacher who is excellent in teaching, top teacher of the town. Hire him. So then you are rest assured that you are getting enough time to relax, to meditate, to go out, you know, whatever, to study. Here what happens is, no, I am the best person. See, I can do everything well. The thing is, I am just putting the thing, one sentence, if you can remember that, I can do everything perfectly well, and everybody must appreciate me. Everything perfectly well, and everybody must appreciate me, otherwise I am worthless. ये जो है ना, ये problem है. You can't do everything.
So the message is loud and clear that, as I always say, don't try to be a Durga. She may be a role model, but I think delegate, distribute, and self-care. Thank you so much for your comment. I might ask you to comment a little later again. Dr. Sarika, endourology involves a lot of work in the operation theatre, wearing a lead apron with a lot of exposure to C-arm. Sarika?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us, is it easy or difficult for a urology woman to plan a family? And what could be the obstacles? And be brief, Sarika, so that we can start the guest talk in about 5 minutes
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
1 minute. Apologies
Yes,
for started late. Yes,
no
Sarika.
problem. Ma'am, I would like to say that this is incidence of my second pregnancy. I was working in a very high volume endourology center.
Sorry, Sarika, could you introduce yourself first? Where are you working and what?
Hello all, I'm Dr. Sarika Pandya, working as a consultant urologist in Asian Institute of Nephrology and Urology, Hyderabad. So, ma'am, when I had a second pregnancy, I was working in a very high volume endourology hospital. So there we have a lots of cases, endourology cases, daily basis, and I have unplanned pregnancy. But the thing is that I search in net and everywhere that if the dosage of radiation is less than 100 milligram, no need of termination of pregnancy. But the thing for me is that I have never used a dosimeter. Nobody has given importance of using dosimeter and every monthly checking of the dosage of radiation dosage, how much you are getting exposed. So I would like to suggest each and every female urologist who are young and planning for pregnancy, they should have to wear a dosimeter every time, wear a lead apron, and it should be checked every monthly that how much radiation exposure is there. Because of this, my mistake, I have to do a termination of pregnancy at that time, medical termination of my pregnancy. So I feel it was very big mistake from my side, and I don't have any other colleagues or seniors that can guide me that this can be a problem in female urology life. So I would like to suggest that.
Sarika, thank you so much, first of all, for being so brave and openly speaking about it. And your message is very, very loud. Though the world literature says that it really doesn't matter when it's your own pregnancy and your own possibility of going through an abortion, it does matter. Wearing a dosimeter is a very simple step. Thank you so much. Saundarya, over to you. So now that a urologist has gone through everything, has gone through the pregnancy, produced a lovely baby, I have joined my work as a urologist and I need to feed my baby. And the timing is rigid. How do you navigate that?
So, good evening, respected seniors and my dear friends. I'm Dr. Soundarya, practicing as consultant urologist in Preeti Hospital, Hyderabad. I joined MCH Urology in the year 2015, and at that time, I had a 50-year-old daughter. So, she was just 50 days then, and I was lactating at that time. The problems that I faced are, I had to join a unit where I had 9 other male colleagues. So, it was a little difficult and delicate for me to ask permission from them or any deviation from the ward shifts, etc. And to take time off from the duty hours to go and feed my child and also to express my milk as well. And also in the end, I managed to get leave for about 80 days or so, but that was with great difficulty because I had to run to meet the chief, the unit chief, the head of the department and the dean. So at that time, it was really difficult. And there were some threats about, getting permission from the leave, sanctioning of the leave, because the seniors might treat you differently, or you might get an extension, or somebody might voluntarily fail you. So there were some threats which I had to face. So, but then because of the family support, I could meet it out. And I had great support from my mother and my mother-in-law, who were all the time with me. And till date, my daughter, my mother is always with me. She had shifted from my native place, which is Coimbatore. She is a retired professor of mathematics. So, and she has shifted, her after retirement, she has shifted to Hyderabad and she's staying with me. And till date, she's been there for me, taking care of my daughter. So not just during the MCH period, even after that, during our career, we need support from our family to overcome these problems.
Thank
So
you
in
so
that
much,
way, my
Saundarya.
mother and mother-in-law were very helpful to me. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much. This is such a unique issue, and human physiology has to go on. And we may be urologists, but yes, we all will have children. And this is a very, very important point you raised. Thank you so much. We have a very senior member amongst us, Dr. Lalita, who's going to talk about and give us a little message about raising a family. Being a busy practicing urologist and urogynecologist. Dr. Lalita, please introduce yourself and a quick 1-minute comment, please.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Anita and everyone there. I'm Dr. Lalita, practicing urologist and urogynecologist at Hyderabad. So this is my own experience. Again, I will be talking, and there will be a lot of repetition from Dr. Deepak's talk. See, we all know that raising children is a full-time job. But as working women and working doctors, surgeons, it is a real challenge for us to, navigate that part of our life. So the best thing for our children and for us is to rope in the grandparents. It could be either set of grandparents, either your parents or parents-in-law. But if you are bringing in your in-laws, my advice is you should have a good rapport with them. Otherwise, it can become a bigger mess. But that is the best thing you can give to your child. They are going to get unconditional love. And at the back of your mind, when you're at work, you don't have to worry whether your child has eaten, whether it's safe or not. They are better, they're safer in their grandparents' hands than in your own hands if you are, thinking about other things. The second thing, again, we have that guilty feeling. Oh, we are not giving them enough time as compared to the, stay-at-home moms. But again, we shouldn't be having that guilty feeling. And whatever little time we have for the kids, give them that quality time. Again, Dr. Deepak's talk, don't be their teacher, especially the most important thing is don't be, nagging them about their schoolwork, projects. Instead, you spend this minimal quality time with some fun activities, like if the child is younger, sing with them, play with them, take them out for a park. If the older children, take them out for their extracurricular activities, like you can drive them to their tennis classes, swimming classes. This time you will be giving to them, your alone time. so
Thank you
that
so
they're
much.
going to enjoy and cherish.
Yeah.
And the last thing is you should have your priorities. Don't be in competition with your full-time moms, and neither at the professional front. You don't have to compete with your male colleagues. See, you have to multitask, and you may not be reaching the same level even in the professional front. So, but don't take it to the heart. After all, the motherhood is going to give you, compensate for the the losses on the professional front. After all, your male colleagues are never going to be mothers. They may at the most be fathers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lalita. Wise words of a senior person. We have 2 quick comments and we will wind up the session. Dr. Anjali. So you are a busy corporate urologist. Anjali practices in Mumbai. You are a busy corporate urologist and you will be with your male colleagues all the time. You'll be traveling with them. You'll be attending conferences, parties, meetings. In all this, can it be tricky to have a healthy relationship with your spouse? Anjali, I can tell
Good
you
evening. Yes.
to try
Good
to be
evening.
very brief. Thank you so much.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. And I'm Dr. Anjali Bhosle, practicing in Mulund, Mumbai. And this is 25 years back when I started my MCH. I was the only person in JJ. But I was lucky to have my seniors and juniors who were male. And I used to feel initial days a little embarrassed. But then I realized there's nothing to be embarrassed about when an andrology session is going on, or not to be feeling shy. And that barrier, if you break, even your colleagues will be free with you. And there's been incidences where we used to crack urology jokes. It's like female, there has to be no gender bias. And I was one of the bindas urologists at my times. And being with male urologists or male colleagues all the time, I made sure that my husband is aware I'm with which all people, and make friends with them. So I used to take my husband, make him understand that these are the colleagues. They became such great friends, and that is what I feel is important. That everybody should know what's happening, and not to keep it only to yourself. So your husband should be aware of it, and not to give him a chance of any kind of suspicion, as Dr. Deepak said, that no chance giving. So that is how you can maintain your good relationship.
Very pertinent comment. Being very honest with yourself and honest with your partner. The final comments comes from Dr. Anu. Dr. Anu, just tell us in 2 lines the importance of self-care as a urologist before we wind up and hand over to Dr. Sujata. Dr. Anu, please introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm Dr. Anu Ramesh. I'm from Chennai. I work at Kaveri Hospitals Group. So simply just put that self-care is taking care of one's own good being, be it your mental, physical, emotional, or a spiritual being. I think we all do tend to neglect it quite a bit. As simple as the sound urological advice, which we end up giving all our female patients: drink enough water, make sure you empty your bladder on time. I don't think any of us do it either. Taking nutritious diets, at least one meal at a proper time, I don't think any of us do it. We know that our physiology is based on the fact that our hormonal changes are going to be there over a period of time. Postmenopausally, we're all going to be osteoporotic. We need to do that strength training. I don't think all of us do it. So I think we need to invest a little more in self-care. Take even that 5 or 10 minutes in a day when you get up. I think Dr. Kelkar actually put it quite well. Get up early. Nothing else. Pick up your cup of coffee or tea. Sit outside. Hear the birds chirping. Just take it in. Breathe in and out. Take that nice deep breath. You've given yourself 10 minutes of self-care. I feel those are the small things which you can do for yourself, because you are as important as the people that you take care of. And until and unless you take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of anyone else as better.
Lovely words, and practice what you preach is the message. Don't
Absolutely,
just philosophize and don't tell others what they should do. Practice that yourself. Thank you, everybody on the panel, for being so precise and very honest about their own life's experiences. Over to you, Sujata, for the next
Good
session.
evening, everyone. And I'm first of all apologetic to Nina that we have kept her waiting for more than half an hour. Nina is a dear friend, She is my colleague at KM Hospital. She is the professor of psychiatry department in KM Hospital. She is a consultant psychiatrist also at Global, and she has more than 28 years of experience. And her field of interest is sexual medicine, child psychiatrist. And I think that's what would help us to understand her topic, which is very interesting. Yeah, invest in intimacy. And this year she is also the vice president of her West Zone section. So without much of time, I think I hand over the mic to Nina. Nina, please do enlighten us with your talk.
Thank you, Sujata, and thank you, the Women's Urological Society, for giving me this chance today on Women's Day to talk to you about invest in intimacy. Well, you can see my slides. Is it in slide mode, Sujata? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Dr. Nina, we can see your slides. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anita. So I think I spent the last 40 minutes or so hearing all the challenges. And yes, I also caught Dr. Kerker's talk and very beautifully elaborated how you have to invest in yourself and invest in your career. We have all spoken about career and we all are career-oriented women. And now we talk about relationship. We are talking about relationship. When I'm talking about intimacy, I'm definitely talking about an interpersonal relationship with a partner. Because when we say intimate, I always think about physical intimacy, emotional intimacy. Most of us are only stuck with this and feel, okay, sexual intimacy is the only thing that we look at. No, there are various levels of intimacy. And if I'm talking about bonding, I'm talking about being attached, I'm talking about being compatible, it comes on various dimensions. We have learned medicine, we have dealt with genitals, we have talked about genitals to our patients, but when we talk about sex, maybe with our own partners, we may be diffident. And we may not express what we want, how we want, when we want. And these are the issues which I commonly see, maybe in couples who come for therapy, they come for problem in the man or maybe problem in the woman. But sexual problems are always couple problems. You have to deal with it by dealing with both of them together and asking them to take responsibility for the act together. So most of the times we think about only physical intimacy. But if you look at the levels of intimacy, then yes, there are so many. And if we ask ourselves, at what level or in how many spheres am I intimate with my partner? Physical, most of us are in our life. Emotional, fine, ठीक है. कुछ हद तक जमता है, कुछ हद तक नहीं जमता है. We don't see eye to eye for many things, but fine. Intellectual, we might find that, okay, he doesn't understand me, she doesn't understand me, and we may be diverse in our things. Financial intimacy, I find very few females have a financial intimacy kind of a relationship or bonding with their spouse in which they can talk about their own finances, managing their own finances, or developing a plan for managing each other's finances. We find it less. Spiritual intimacy, again, we may be on different paths, or you may be in it together. And recreational intimacy, I mean, these are all hi-fi names given to small things which we are supposed to do in we time. But this, if I don't have me time, I very rarely will have we time. Our we time is going to party together, meeting friends at some places. It has never let us both go only, we don't want anybody else. But if you look at couples today, I find them having difficulty in gelling with each other. It's like, okay, 2-3 couples will go for a trip, maybe a weekend trip, but they find it very difficult to just go with a partner. Now, why is this coming up? Somewhere something has changed, or somewhere we really don't know how to be comfortable with each other, how to talk with each other, how to bond with each other. All our lives now, especially this generation, is all on mobile. Very, very, very limited social skills. And all that is seen in relationships. Because if my social skills are not developed, I don't know how to talk, I don't know how to laugh, I don't know how to, express my thoughts, it's going to be extremely difficult when I get a partner. So you will find, I'm finding a lot of these people in 25s and 30s who are coming, find it very difficult to talk to each other about their needs or wants. They cannot express. It is like, ठीक है, कुछ नहीं है, आज नहीं हो सकता है, okay, we'll see some other time. And that's it. They both go their own ways. Like he'll go and sit in the hall and see the TV. She'll be in the bedroom just going through her WhatsApp. And if I tell them, but why is this? Why don't you sit and share? The answer given is, but what to communicate? I mean, he said, no, okay, theek hai, nahi hota hai. So they are also happy with this limited answer that is given, कि नहीं होता है, कि इच्छा नहीं है, नहीं बैठना है तुम्हारे साथ, या मुझे desire नहीं है आज के दिन. So again, there is a big fallout in terms of, sexual compatibility and at what levels people's desire run. So sexual dysfunctions, if you see and ask any couple, you might find that they're having lots of problems because first of all, their desire does not seem to be falling in the normal paradigm where they want to have sex every day. Many of them are happy for not doing it for 10 days, 15 days. And these are all young people. We are talking about people in their early 20s or maybe late 20s. But this is what is there. I don't know what will happen the next decade. I really don't know. But sexual problems are definitely there in a big way. So now when we talk about intimacy and we are talking about people coming close and talking, it's actually about knowing your partner. It's about sharing. It's about accepting. It's like, जैसा है तुम्हारा पति है, first we were told 7 जन्मों के लिए यही है. Obviously 7 जन्म नहीं है, पर ये जन्म में तो let me make an attempt to accept, or maybe let me see if both of us can be compatible. So we have to appreciate differences, but now since most of the girls are educated, none of them are, say 30 years ago who are, accepting what is dished out to them. People here do understand. And we want our young girls to know, I would want all our young daughters to understand this. And how will we resolve these differences? Because differences are going to be there in every family, because none of your five fingers are not alike. So similarly, 5 people in the family, 5 different temperaments, 5 different intellectual thought processes. Nobody is going to be accepting of your perception in the first go. So you need to know how to go about solving, making people understand, or making them know what you think when you say so and so. These kind of things were never taught to us. None of us were taught by our mothers कि किसी ने ऐसा बोला तो तुमको सिर्फ एक्सेप्ट करना है, ये वो तुम्हारा ससुराल है, वो जो बोलेंगे वही पूर्व दिशा है, आपको कुछ करना नहीं है, आपको सिर्फ हाँ में हाँ मिलानी है. You are not supposed to assert, you're not supposed to say no, you have to just go with it. No, today the times have changed and we don't want our daughters to be in the same boat as we were, nor should we be in the same boat. We have to learn that we can resolve. Every time there doesn't have to be a fight. People get scared, women get scared. Nee, how will I tell? When I tell them you don't want him, you don't want sex, please tell him you don't want sex. Don't give excuses like I have to sit with the child, etc. Don't make your child a scapegoat. Take responsibility that you don't want sex. Many women give excuses of headaches, this thing, that thing. They don't say, I don't want it. So till I don't take that responsibility, how will it happen? Until I learn to say no, like some of you have, expressed these challenges. So it begins with us in our own homes. So if I don't know how to say no, how am I going to teach my daughter how to say no? Because I have to teach her for, protect her or tell her about safety skills and about abuse. Some of the things which we never got education from our parents or grandparents, because things were never talked about in the open. Today they are. So when you want to have this kind of an intimacy with your husband, you need him to be with you when you want to discuss all these things with your children or wherever or whatever interpersonal problems you may be having. You need to have somebody who will understand your point of view. We've talked about ego, we've talked about all these things, and yes, they are going to be there. Somebody is more intelligent, somebody is earning more, somebody is more popular, somebody is a better speaker, somebody gets more mileage. Yes, it's always there. Somebody is more better looking, agreed. But if I want to develop intimacy and I know how to weave it about and I know how to make my man understand me, I can do it. So we have to remember women have the power, they know, they have the know-how as compared to men who lack some of the things which we all know as differences between men and women. And it is important that we take on this challenge and do it. It is important not only for our own safety. You all talked about being in a man's world. Whether you're insecure, there was so much of insecurity in the beginning. Now probably things have changed. People have accepted, okay, urology can be taken up, surgery can be taken up, orthopedics, all male-dominated fields are being taken up by women. Nothing wrong in it as long as I have the confidence and I know I can do it. But whether my man or my partner will be comfortable with me being with so many men, yes, I have to make him comfortable. I have to make him secure. I have to tell him what I go through, what I feel, and I need his support. So many times the paranoia will be there amongst men, especially if a woman is handling penises. Maybe she is totally with men, but that doesn't mean that she likes every man or she's sexual towards every man. If your partner knows you by means of communication because you have shared things with him, things become easy. And that is what we lack. We don't communicate. We don't talk. We do communication of mundane things. We don't do communication of things which matter or things like sexuality or what I want or what I like. Even if it is talking about own sexual urges, we still don't talk. The day we cross that barrier, things may be more comfortable. And I think probably the time has come where so many young urologists are seen here. So obviously, the more you can communicate on these lines for a better interpersonal relationship and an intimate relationship with a spouse, I think the problems get solved. So these are the problem areas have always been time immemorial, universal. Communication, बात नहीं करती है, सही नहीं बोलती है. Or the girl has this problem. I can't talk to him. He just doesn't understand what to talk to him. He just shuts up. He doesn't express. क्या बोलूं? मुझे बहुत कुछ कहना है, पर वो समझता ही नहीं है. So yes, we have to learn or we have to first understand what are these differences between men and women and इसको पटाना कैसा है. हमको मालूम है अगर हमको कोई चीज चाहिए होती है तो हम क्या बोलते हैं, हम किस तरह से मनवा लेते हैं. तो सिमिलरली सेक्सुअल इश्यूज के लिए भी बहुत सारे जरिए हैं which we can use. Then yes, women are always emotionally dependent. That becomes, a problem area because when emotions come into the picture, they create a lot of barriers because they disrupt communication. Emotions disrupt behavior. So it's like, rona, dhona and all that. And so it goes off a tangent. You may be talking on one problem, but because of your emotional, dependency or because you become too emotional, the whole focus of communication changes and you may just talk about something else. So these are the areas where women need to work on or, bring clarity in how can I make my talk very succinct and message very clear as to what I want or what I don't want. Another major issues where women, I find, have difficulties in sexual intimacy is because they are unaware of their own sexuality or sensuality. This is amazing. I'm talking about doctor couples. I'm talking about so many medical residents who come forth for being in relationships and then saying, no, I just don't get the desire. I just don't come. Nothing happens. I don't know what is wrong. Everything is otherwise fine. The guy is also okay. But many of them have actually not, tried to find out what things make her tick. And these could be because of n number of reasons. As we talk about sex is, a sexual response is always a true psychophysiological response. I mean, the body doesn't lie and the mind doesn't lie. And if the mind is not in it, the sex doesn't happen. Your body's physiology doesn't show the changes. So we're all aware of all the sexual response cycle and how it gets tuned in with the psychological overplay. So many women are not able to understand it, probably because of so many causes and restrictive upbringing, or homes where open talk about sex is not there. Or I remember my own growing up, wherever, any sanitary napkin ad came, we would, immediately change the channel or just get up from there, because you would be embarrassed seeing it on TV. Or, your brother or somebody would just look down, etc. So these were the things. And sometimes in families today also, this is not changed. The same thing continues, and you don't have families talking openly, or there's no sex education per se happening in schools either. The government brought in a GR because they thought that, okay, the more you teach them, probably the more reckless they would be, and you will have more number of teenage pregnancies. And we are looking at so many POXO cases, and I am seeing practically maybe, 2 to 3 POXO cases per week in the OPD, and all of them are consensual sex. The only problem is they are all below 18. So we have, by law, we have to register them under POXO. But none of the girls are actually saying that they didn't want the sexual response. Now, all this could have been prevented if we would have given them the right sex education and told them about safety skills from before and safe sex practices. So all these are the things which in our upbringing actually bring about how I respond to sex in my adult life. And yes, most of us are unaware of these differences about men and women. And we all feel like, if I feel like that, he should also feel like that. If I can tell him so clearly, why can't he tell me clearly? So there are some basic differences, and we have to understand that women are extremely complicated in terms of, because they are highly emotional. You have to say they are very, very, they are cued. All their sense organs work very efficiently at the same time. I mean, if you have a group of women who are discussing something and there is a nearby table for women discussing something else, they will hear what you are saying. They will also hear what the next table is discussing. They will take in at the same time what sari she has worn, what dress she has worn, which cut, is it new fashion, is it latest fashion? Everything will be touched, or whether this color I have, I don't have. And yes, the feel of this texture is like this. So if you look at it, the sense organs are working continuously, and it's a very beautiful thing that a woman is able to appreciate all that. That's why she is unique and she is different, and she is not like a man. A man works in a single button. At a time, he can focus only at one thing. You can't expect him to see, means he will see, but he's not going to, if somebody is talking, he will be focusing on the words rather than looking at that man's shirt or what kind of suit he has worn, etc. So he's not built to be like that. But women expect men to be like that. And that is the problem. So this is something where we have to tell, this is something we have to, teach probably our sons and daughters. And these are the skills where we want them to change. Or all women want the men to have an emotional base. Now most of them are not like that. They are like, very logical reasoning. So it's like, just for a fact, theek hai, to nahi hua na, koi baat nahi. Whereas a woman would want to grieve and express and how she's been put off by, something. Whereas a man is very matter of fact. Theek hai, nahi hua, koi baat nahi hai. So they want the man to understand their emotions of they are feeling at a loss. I don't know how much we can teach them, but every time probably role modeling in front of men or trying to tell them, maybe you might find that some of them pick up. But again, women have this thing that he listens more to my mother-in-law or to his mother, or when the son grows up, maybe to the son, or it never changes. So it is always going to be there. We have to change the woman's perception to how she's looking at the male. So that was interpersonal relationship like that. When we talk about sexual intimacy, then these are the problems which are there in both the genders. I have found it in both the genders, especially if you are having a professional couple who are both working or both having a high profile job or both who are career oriented. Massive problems where sex happens hardly any time. Then you've got people who are, okay, not having a child, but family is pressurizing 5 years or 6 years down the line. And then it's like, they don't even want to have the sex. And I have had people who've, gone for IVF just because it's easy and it's done, ठीक है अभी time नहीं है इससे करवा लेते हैं. So there are things which are happening like this. And I was quite shocked when my anesthetist friend told me that people with vaginismus or unconsummated marriages come directly for IVF to the fertility clinics for IVF, and they don't even want to bother. The woman says, I don't want to have sex. You please just impregnate me with this method of treatment. And this is what it is coming to. So I seriously don't know what is going to happen, because normal life now is more or less becoming like this, like where couples are not interested in each other. Rather, they're maybe only interested in themselves, or maybe not interested in the relationship. And this is what we don't want. We don't want this to happen, because it will ruin everything. So now when we talk, or when I take people for sex therapy or something like that, is the only thing which is important is touch. And actually a sensual touch is different from a sexual touch. Or every time anybody touches you, people feel, okay, is this a sexual touch? No, sensual touch is important. We've been touching each other. We've all grown with touch. I mean, from the time we've been born, we've been cuddled, we've been held, we've been smelled, we've been tickled. And if we wouldn't have gone through that, we wouldn't have had a normal development. We wouldn't know that that touch makes you secure, makes you feel secure. The moment somebody is grieving, you go and hug that person, or you hold him by his shoulders. You don't stand away, because if you stand away, the person does not feel you're empathetic. So yes, touch in the right way and for the right things is extremely important. And this is what we have to focus on or tell, because actually touch is missing in lives. Hardly any couples touch. अपने देश में तो पब्लिक डिस्प्ले ऑफ अफेक्शन तो है ही नहीं, कोई भी घर में होता भी नहीं है. तो none of us have been role modeled on touch as a sense of security. Touch is always considered with the opposite gender having a dirty meaning or not to be done. But it is important, like, you will touch both your kids up to pubertal. After that, they also don't want you to touch them. But if you continue it in a non-threatening way, and if you continue it in a secure manner where they feel secure, they don't consider it or don't interpret it as a sexual touch, whether it is a 21-year-old son or whether it is your 21-year-old daughter, either of the genders, parents should touch. That is what I always keep on saying. And for couples, extremely important. So whether it is foreplay, whether it is afterplay, during the sexual act, everything is dependent on touch. And we are blessed with skin as the organ of touch, and your whole body is available for touching. And everything is not an erogenous zone, but a non-erogenous zone can definitely be made erogenous during a sexual act when you give it with that. Otherwise, touch can be sensual. I mean, when you touch a baby or when you touch yourself, you are touching parts of your body which give you pleasure, and it should be there. Females, when I talk to them and I ask them, okay, can you tell me what are your erogenous zones, or, so that I know whether you're doing masturbation, whether you're comfortable with yourself, I find they say, no, I don't normally touch. That's so weird, touching yourself. I mean, I said, what is weird in it? You're touching your own body, and you should know your body. So you should know, okay, if I touch my navel, I feel like this. I touch my breast, I feel like this. And I want somebody touching my hands or my feet or my shin, etc. But if you don't know and you don't touch yourself, how are you going to tell your partner? And how is he going to make you aroused if you don't know yourself. Because the therapy which we give is called sensate focused therapy, in which touch is the main thing, and that is the exercise which we teach the couple. So when you're talking about sensual touch, you have to ask them whether they know it, or you should practice it. And this is not for somebody else, this is for your own person. Sensual touch also causes a lot of relaxation, bonding. It releases oxytocin, makes you feel nice, builds up attachment, etc. It doesn't mean that when you touch your partner when he's sitting on the sofa, it is going to land up with sex. No, I can just take and I can take his hand in my hand. I can just caress the hand. I can just intertwine my fingers. But how many couples do it? How many couples actually sit and do? I ask people who come, do you have the time to do it? You're both seeing TV, but you both sit apart. You may sit close by on the sofa, but how many of you just put your shoulder on his, put your head on his shoulder, or intertwine your arms, etc.? Very few, very few. So we have the opportunities to do it, but we don't do it. So all these things are the areas which are going to increase intimacy. So when I tell women, I always tell them, please do self-massage. Best way, you're taking a bath, you're putting soap on your body. Please feel how a lather feels. Please, how a shower, when you're taking a shower, how the droplets of water fall on your body. See what kind of sensations you get. Focus on that. Then yes, your specific areas of your body, which are your erogenous zones, which get you aroused. There are several erogenous zones universally, both genders, which I've just put them across. You can go through them, and these are universal. And apart from that, anytime, if your touch is right, and if you do it persistently, the non-erogenous zones will also become erogenous zones. So, even my calf or my thigh or my forearms or my arms, which are normally not erogenous zones, but by my touch, which could be just a finger line or, a caressing touch, I can change it. So that is the power of touch. And this is what we want females to understand. And this is what we want females to know. First is to understand their own body. So if they understand themselves, then probably they'll be able to tell their partner. Because males generally may be a little more talkative than females when it comes to sex, in terms of demanding or in terms of asking, or even in terms of, using words. Like you will find males are the ones who may say, oh, I love you, or you're looking very nice and you're beautiful and all this. But you will find no woman actually reciprocates by giving the guy some kind of a reply. And I keep on asking and I keep on telling them that, come on, you have to communicate, because you can't do sex ऐसे बिना आवाज, बिना कुछ भी आंख बंद करके नहीं होता है, because you're cutting down your senses. So this is what I tell them when I teach them sex and the sense and the importance of all the sense organs, etc. So now we learned about sensual touch on ourselves. Similarly, you have partner sensual touch. I mean, you could try this on your partner, and it can be in a sensual thing. Then it could be for foreplay, or it could be just touching your partner, like I said, sitting on the sofa and kind of just doing any kind of relaxing something which we do. We have couples who massage each other, bathe, shower, etc., cuddling. All these things can be done. We have food play. Food play is when they talk about exotic sex, and when they talk about these kind of things and improving your sex life, doing something new. Yes, you can use food products, provided you take all the precautions, care that your bed doesn't get messed up. You put a cover under it so that, you don't have ants coming. And these are the things which the females come and tell me. If I say, okay, you can try this, doctor, you're telling me all this. If we do all this, this will happen. And I don't want to be the one cleaning up after that. So it has to be a shared decision, like we talked about, shared decision and sharing all the activities with your partner. That is going to increase the intimacy. So yes, even cleaning up after the sexual act, or whatever you've tried, something new should be done together. But it can be done. It's not the end of it. And then when we come to sexual touch, and I talk about sex touch in a particular area, which would be the erogenous zones, which you when you give it with an intent in those areas like genitals, breasts, maybe lips, I know that it is meant for arousing that person. So it is going to arouse, it is going to increase the pleasure. When the pleasure increases, it so happens that the psychological intimacy of that couple increases. And then, yes, again, the non-erogenous zones become erotic. And then, yes, you find that the sexual response cycle progresses. So the excitement, the arousal, the excitement, and you have the orgasm. Sexual intimacy can again be improved in various ways when you're doing sex. And we do know that sometimes you have to tell this to patients, because many patients just follow the routine type of sex, or maybe just the vaginal intercourse, or maybe just the man on top. So you may have to tell them, okay, you try different positions. You may try women on top. You may try sitting. You may try doing it in different, like using a water bed, doing it in the bath area. Do some fun activities. You can do some teasing. Many of our people don't use sex toys, but yes, if you have access to them, why not? You have to make your experience more exhilarating or maybe more enjoyable. Doesn't mean that every time you have to do it. You can also do routine, but in your routine, when you include all the senses, then you find that it really brings out the effect. Like I always tell, sex hygiene is extremely important. So you have to take a bath before you're indulging in sexual activity. You have to brush your teeth. The kind of food we eat bring about a smell which may deter. Suppose I'm smoking, drinking, eating onions. I get a very pungent smell. And if some of us are olfactorily cued, and I can't just bear pungent smell, I will turn the face away when the husband comes to kiss you. And we don't want that. We don't want you to miss out on experiences. Similarly, vision, not do it in the dark. Don't use bright light, but maybe, yes, you use yellow light, you use candle light, you use moonlight, you use whatever light which gives the effects of shadows, because it improves the experience. You can do whatever you want. Taste, yes, people use food for taste. Means they put food and then they lick it, and that gives them a better experience. I always tell people, please put on some songs, romantic songs. If you can't say romantic words, have something in the background which is kind of saying what you would like to say. And it definitely helps. But more so, if you yourself say, it gives a bigger kick to the partner. And kinesthetic, you can do it in motion, you can do it in waterbed, you can do it standing. Not many people try standing, but yes, you can do the touching thing in standing position. And everything doesn't have to be in same position on the bed, etc. So yes, when you use all the senses, it's going to be a mind-blowing experience as compared to normally than how it is done. So yes, for intimacy, I always tell people you have to rediscover yourself, because there's so many aspects of yourself that you don't know. Repeat some of the actions which bring about a response, and that is how you're going to rejuvenate your relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And I think all of us had a different taste in urology webinars. We did not do our routine stuff in urology, and this is really, it was like, I think you made things very clear and loud, and they would be helpful to all of us. So we are coming to the end of this webinar, and it's my duty to thank everyone. I would start with the president of USI, Dr. Lalit Shah, for sparing his time. Dr. Uttam Mete, who is the honorary secretary, thank you for your words. And I also would like to thank them. Before I thank the speakers, I would like to thank the male members who joined in: Dr. R.B. Sabnis, Dr. Arun Chawla, Dr. Prashant Mulokar, and many more. But I also would like to thank Dr. Deepak Kelkar for his basic talk, which was very nice. Yes, I can see the message by Dr. Ajay Bhandarkar. Thank you, sir, for joining. And Anita, who conducted a very good discussion and putting some pertinent questions to our fellow urologists. And of course, to Dr. Rajameshwari ma'am for her wonderful slides on the history of urology, women in urology. And and Nina, thanks a lot. And I think it was really a very different topic which we discussed, which would probably a topic which never came out in the public. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending this. And good night and take care. Thank you, Harpreet. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. So I think
Thank you,
we will
ma'am.
call this. Thanks. Thank you. Good night. Bye.